We took a shot to open the episode. It was really good.
I really liked it.
I'm going to have a problem with this episode, I think. I can already tell.
You said you wouldn't get too drunk. Remember what
I
happens?
promised that, but that was before I tasted the whiskey. So.
All right, well, here we go. I can't even think about that.
See how fast I was right there, dude?
Oh, I just took that shot and it messed with my brain. Well, hello, everyone that has an emergency bottle of booze hanging at their nightstand during this wonderful Christmas time to deal with their family. My name is Jamie, and I'm your host.
And I'm Peter. I'm a host.
That's all you had.
I'm that host.
Welcome to another grotesquely delicious episode of Drunken Demonic.
Speaking of which, though, this was delicious.
It was really good. That's what I said. I was taken back.
Holy shit.
I liked it. On this episode, we are going to dive into the folklore and story of the real, true spirit of Christmas. What's that?
Krampus. We're doing Krampus.
Is there anything else you wanted to explain about it?
I have a whole teaser that I wrote.
Of course you do. Are you going to do a funny voice too?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. I'm ready.
Has someone been naughty this year?
Is that a sexy voice?
You better pray you wake up to a lump of coal in your stocking. The alternative is a 10-foot-tall, half-man, half-goat demon straight from hell itself, who accompanies St. Nick on his rounds for the Christmas season. Clad in chains and carrying around a birch rod for whipping, this bad daddy is out to punish the naughty, sometimes sparing the rod and tossing them straight into his sack, where he brings them to hell and he eats the unfortunate souls with fava beans and a nice glass of Chianti. Ladies and gentlemen, on tonight's episode, we dive into the depths of hell and explore the Krampus.
He's one bad daddy.
One bad daddy, dude. That's Krampus.
That's Krampus. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, dude. You know, I just, you asked me to do these teasers, and I
did?
Well, I feel like you want me to, kind of
news to me.
Tease what the main event is about.
You're right. That's exactly.
I don't know how to, not
that's you.
Blown, so you're welcome.
Thank you. And for what it's worth, I think all your coaches in acting school were fucking wrong, dude. I think you should have been a star.
I'm a star in the eyes of many.
Yeah, list them.
My mom, speaking of which, she did leave us these fantastic coasters. I guess they're not coasters.
They're puffin koozies.
Yep. Jamie's got a pretty awesome little Hawaiian shirt kind of koozie there.
True that.
I get a leather jacket because mostly, I don't know, I think she found these and then she was like, oh, that one's perfect for Jamie, and I guess we'll get this one for Peter.
Because you're a bad boy, dude.
Yeah, dude.
You're a motorcycle mama.
Something like that. I feel like that's something Gene would say about himself.
Real one.
He's a Bob's Burger saying, I'm a motorcycle mama. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a mommy.
All right. With that being said, would you like to tell us about our first sponsor there, Pete?
Our first sponsor is going to be Axe and Oak Distilling Bourbon Whiskey out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. I didn't expect this to actually be that good.
So good. I actually thought it was going to be out of New York City with the and in the middle. The Axe and Oak sounds very New Yorkish. So good for you, Colorado Springs.
That there's an and in it?
Yeah, anytime there's a fancy hipster place.
And the oak.
Yeah.
I thought it was Axe and Oak. I didn't see there was the. Anyways, we took a shot to open the episode. It was really good.
I really liked it.
I'm going to have a problem with this episode, I think. I can already tell.
You said you wouldn't get too drunk. Remember?
I promised that, but that was before I tasted the whiskey. So.
All right, well, here we go.
Axe and the Oak.
Colorado
Stupid
Spring.
name, fantastic whiskey.
I don't think it's that bad. Why
I
is
just don't like the. I don't like the in there. Are you going to read the entire back of the bottle right now?
Nope. I'm just going to read it for my own personal gain.
Anyways, our second sponsor is going to be Seasick Crocodile from Prairie Artisan Ales. It is going to be a cranberry, ginger, and cinnamon sour. Pretty much like a holiday sour. For those that don't get the reference, Seasick Crocodile is in reference to the song You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch.
I didn't know that until Peter just told me.
That's why I needed to clarify it. Because people are like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why would they have that right now?
Well, I really liked it because it looks like a Christmas sweater.
It looks cool as shit. Speaking of which, fantastic Christmas sweater, Jamie.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Our second sponsor, because apparently we are gonna definitely be drinking more than 4 beers.
Hold on, you didn't explain where this came from.
I don't know where it came from. You gave it to me.
I know. Then slow your roll there, Chief.
Sorry,
you're going so fast. You have a Red Bull or something? This is Prairie Artisan Ale.
How I am, you know that.
I know. That's what I'm trying to get you to slow down, motherfucker. That's all I got. So it's brewed and canned by Krebs Brewing out of McAlester, Oklahoma. Good for you, Oklahoma. Let's give her a swirl, buddy, until you're like ready to go for the next one.
That is an interesting beer.
This is very cinnamony.
There's so much ginger.
There's
so much cinnamon. There's no cranberry from like maybe a slight bit of cranberry.
Beginning is.
I didn't mention this before because I wanted to be loud, but I don't like ginger, the flavor at all. This is a beer that I will drink because you brought it here.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to celebrate the fact that every sip is going to be painful for me.
It is very much ginger.
Yeah, it's a lot of ginger.
It smells nutmeggy. I get the sour. The cranberries are at the end, but mostly ginger.
So it makes my mouth so dry.
I'm sorry.
Does it not for you?
Yeah, it does.
Can you feel like in your gums?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
All right.
I don't hate it as much as I thought I would, even though there's a very distinct ginger flavor that I'm like having trouble getting over.
Nutmeg too.
A lot, like it really does have. I know that they're kind of going for like the gingerbread man feel here.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a very good gingerbread man taste. I'm impressed by how well they were able to replicate that in liquid form.
Yeah. Beer one, Seasick Crocodile. Fast paced. Okay. What's the next one we're drinking?
This is Princess Yum Yum.
So Denver Beer Company, Princess Yum Yum is a raspberry kolsch.
I thought it was a sour. This is the first time learning that it's not a sour.
Well, I bought it because I thought maybe this would be too intense. So it's like, let's get another like fruity style.
I don't know why you just got fruit beers.
Because I know that you don't like actual beers, so I figured get you some fruity ones for the holidays.
Thanks, bud. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. All right, let's try this one now. 2 beers.
I'm a little ahead of you.
I see that. I got 3 beers. Speaking of ahead, I got a Pacifico too.
You can always find you with a Modelo or Pacifico, I feel like.
It's true. And that's like a raspberry, like a watered down raspberry.
Yeah, it does kind of taste like water now that you mention it.
Now that after
it's almost like a seltzer.
I think I like the sour better.
I kind of do too.
Also, we mentioned that these are unofficial special sponsors, right?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. They don't have anything to do with us in real life.
No,
they probably would
us.
Run for the hills if they knew we were even talking about their product. So
I think they'd be okay with it, but they wouldn't do anything other than great job drinking.
Hey, we love that you drink our beer and pay for it. Right?
Yeah.
Is that you crying?
No,
like a baby.
I was like, yeah, old timey baby.
Oh, I thought you were like me.
Yeah, see the mob. See,
Jimmy, where are we next?
I think we go into Hell on Earth.
My Hell on Earth stories, I got 2.
Of course you do.
Are mostly like court related.
Pardon me. Mine's court related. Nice.
So to start off with, I'm going to talk about the Menendez brothers are being potentially resentenced.
Never heard of them. Who are they?
Okay. So Eric and Lyle Menendez.
I'm just kidding. They're all over the fucking world. I was like 19.
I feel like again, there's a lot that like it's been all over the place. But for those that don't know, these 2 brothers 100% killed their own parents and were sentenced to life in jail without parole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In the 80s.
Yes. In 89, the murder happened in 92, they were sentenced. They have asked for a resentencing of their crimes, and the hearing is taking place on December 11th. Now, their plea for resentencing factors around these two pieces, or like this new evidence that has come to light where this man now, Roy Rosello, who claims to have been assaulted by the father, Jose Menendez, who was 14 at the time when his band Menudo was being represented by RCA when Jose was a high-level executive.
Menudo, like Ricky Martin's Menudo?
Probably, actually. Yeah. That would actually make sense.
Yeah.
It seems to fit around that same time. Okay. So this guy, Roy Rosello, was part of that boy band that came out of Mexico at the time.
Yeah. Not just a soup.
It's a soup?
I think Menudo's like a food, right?
I don't know, dude.
All right, sidebar.
Anyways, the second piece of evidence that's significant is that Eric Menendez's aunt has produced a letter that was sent to her son, so Eric's cousin, discussing details about his being assaulted by his father several months before the brothers actually killed their parents. So, and it's postmarked and written, listen to that. So, the first trial ended up in a mistrial because the jury was split on whether or not they should be convicted of manslaughter or murder in the first degree.
Okay.
The second trial, the manslaughter charges were revoked because the boys were not allowed, or like, I guess by this point they were definitely men, they were like 25 at this point, were not allowed to, by the judge, use the defense that they were assaulted by their father as a reason for why they committed the crimes.
Okay.
This was dismissed. What they have pretty much done is they've asked for these claims to be re-examined and to be factored into a new resentencing for the Menendez brothers. There's a pretty solid possibility that the Menendez brothers will be out by the end of the year.
Yes.
Depending on how the
100%
judge will decide on this. But it's pretty, I would guess that the brothers will be out by the end of the year, if not early 2025.
Okay.
Which is pretty crazy. And we will definitely update what the actual decision is on the next episode. But I wanted to preface that. The second one I'm going to talk about...
Wait, hold on, though. You didn't talk about the major force that's also driving behind this case.
Netflix?
TikTok.
TikTok? Are you going to tell me more? Or are you just going to say TikTok?
There's a huge following on TikTok of like, I'd say 16 to 24-year-old girls.
Okay.
That are constantly posting about how they shouldn't be in jail because of it was a mental health thing because they were drove to kill their parents.
Right.
And that's what started a lot of this resentencing.
Another pretty crazy thing is that, so yes, social media and the popularity of like the new Netflix series.
There's a Hulu
has
series.
Put all of this into perspective.
Peacock series.
But they're also questioning whether or not a huge part of why the Menendez brothers were sentenced had to do with their technical confessions to their counselor, or not their counselor, but the psychologist that they were working with. And the only reason, there is certainly a patient-client privilege that is in law as well as in mental health services. And those services can be used in a way to get someone out of these type of murder one convictions, but they can't be used both ways. And the Menendez brothers were kind of trying to use it both ways, where they were not going to make at no point did they try to pretend that they were crazy and that's why they did these things.
Yeah, exactly. I murdered.
Right? So you can't use patient-client privilege to say that you're crazy, but you can use it. And what they tried to do was say that it's not valid because there was no reason why the disclosures that were made to their psychologist should have been admitted to court because it's patient-client confidentiality.
Yes.
And they have a pretty solid case with that. And so that's another thing that's being called into question. But the problem with all these specifically like TikTok people that are saying that, they deserve to be set free because they are struggling from mental health issues, is that they're kind of what I started with. You can't use both the patient-client privilege as a sword and a shield.
Yeah.
Where, it's not allowed to be used against me, but it can be used for me. You can't use it that way. So like I kind of have dismissed a lot of that, and that's the biggest reason why I didn't bring it up.
I'm sorry that I brought it in then.
It's all good. But it is important to mention how much this case has been in specifically like the social media realm of things, because it definitely has played a factor into how people are running for office in California. Both the outgoing and the incoming district attorneys for California in whatever district that they're in have claimed that they will be re-examining the case. It's part of their like platform.
To really get people to vote for him.
Yep. It's not without mentioning social media has 100% played a pretty significant role in this case.
Let's say just get your parents.
But the mental health
president. That way you can pardon. You'd have them pardon you, but I guess they killed their parents.
Yeah, that's a bummer. They should have thought about that.
Sorry. Subtle jab.
Next, we're going to update that on the next episode.
2.
Yep.
Wowie.
I got 2.
Let's hear it.
The other one, an Indiana district court has voted guilty and convicted Richard Allen of the deaths of Liberty German and Abigail Williams, a.k.a. the Delphi murders.
Okay.
Did you know about this?
I've heard of it.
You've heard of the Delphi murders.
I can't look at this anymore without wanting it. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I'm an alcoholic. I host a show about drinking. It's really good.
About drinking.
Yeah.
That's maybe one of the better whiskeys we've had on this whole show.
Yes.
So to like do a quick thing about the Delphi murders, these 2 teenage girls are just outside of their town. It's about 5 miles outside of the town of Delphi, Indiana. And they are found just off of this like hiking path where both of the bodies are discovered. But a phone is found with them, or not even a phone was found with them, but there are Snapchat videos of them taking a video of a guy like walking towards them.
Yeah.
And then later they're taking another video and it's pointed towards the ground, so you don't see anyone at this point.
He just yells at him.
But he said, down the hill.
Yes.
Right? And it takes place at the Monon High Bridge. It's a cell phone video. So people, since this case happened, and it's been about, I think it's like 5 to 10 years. I can't even remember how long it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a pretty solid open mystery type of case up until the last year and a half. And they've rushed through this whole thing pretty quickly. But they definitely have, or not sentenced, but they have convicted this man, Richard Allen, who I think they mentioned that he is admitted and claimed to have killed these girls. And it's been, like we said, like 5 to 7 years or something like that. 5 to 10. I can't remember exactly what the years are. But it's been a significant mystery in the true crime
I remember watching the documentary like years ago.
Yep. And so they have finally gotten to it. His sentencing will take place on December 11th as well. So there's a lot of shit going on December 11th.
Aren't you fucking kidding?
This guy, Richard Allen, has claimed responsibility for these murders apparently more than 60 times, which is why he definitely was convicted.
Why was he not convicted before?
I mean, since he's been in jail, he has claimed this either to informants or people that he's shared space with in the prison, to police, as well as to family members and stuff like that. It was kind of an open and shut case on him. There's some questions on whether or not maybe there was like a little bit of cruel and unusual punishment, as far as he's been in solitary confinement since he was arrested about 1.5 years ago. From what I've read and heard, most people that are still on trial for things are kept in solitary confinement because they don't want them speaking to other people in jail, because the other people in jail are just looking for ways to reduce their own sentences.
So they just rat them out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
tale as old as time.
Yeah, the defense's case that was like, oh, like he was treated unrightfully because he was held in solitary for this long. It's like, oh no, this is like pretty regular. Jamie, what do you got for us for your true crime hell on earth news?
Well, I didn't know this, but I also have a trial that I watched, and I don't know as much. I guess I didn't put as much effort into like following or researching it as you did, but I've been really enjoying myself watching it.
What does that mean?
So I don't know if you are familiar with the rapper Young Thug.
I don't know who that is.
He has such hits as, I have no idea because I've never heard anything he's ever done. They all sound exactly the same. All that Little Yachty is one another one. Like, so anyways, this rapper, Young Thug, was charged 2 years ago for racketeering because a rival gang member in Atlanta got murdered. Mm-hmm. And the only way to get them on trial was for racketeering. Guilty by association.
Yeah, RICO.
Yeah. So this is
it's a criminal enterprise. They're taking in this person that's working in coordination with this person and this person. Yeah, I get you.
So this is the longest trial in Georgia history, going on for 2 years. And it just ended Tuesday. Our Young Thug took a plea deal.
Okay.
Which I think it's got him 10 years. It was kind of hard, or it was kind of confusing to figure out what.
So really he had someone that he like either paid or influenced to go murder another person.
Funny you mentioned that, because the other guy that took a plea deal Tuesday got stabbed yesterday in jail.
In association with this case?
Yeah. He took a plea deal, got stabbed in jail. His name was Little Yachty or Young Yachty.
Young Yacht.
That's not the best part of the story. I had a real hoot watching, because all of this is completely filmed, so you can watch the entire trial. And if you have the time, I highly suggest just going to YouTube and then just typing top 10 hilarious moments of Young Thug's trial.
I can't wait.
My personal favorite, I think, is the guy that goes, yo, I'm just like too high to be answering these questions right now.
I love the honesty. I appreciate it. You're not perjuring yourself.
Second really good one was they had to evacuate the whole courtroom because one of Young Thug's people or accomplices
farted.
No. He smelled like weed, so they brought him into another room.
It wasn't the guy that said he was too high?
No.
It was a different guy.
Another guy. So they brought him into a separate room to search him, and he was yelling so loud, like kind of acting like they were hurting him really bad, that they're like, all right, everyone get out until he's gone.
What the fuck? Like,
he's like, oh, you're breaking my leg. Yeah. Well, they ended up finding I think 2 ounces of weed.
That's a lot.
I don't know exactly. I'm sorry, but they found a shit.
I mean, I don't know. 2 ounces is like not a crazy amount, but it's a good amount.
There's also a part.
Weed's really light. Like 2 ounces, it's like a pretty. It's like a freezer bag full of fucking weed.
What's another good? So there was a point in the trial where one of Young Thug's fans hacked the computer system where they were showing stuff on the TV, like showing proof or evidence, and they hacked it and they put porno on, and so they had to.
Is this real? No, it's not.
It's all real. Yeah, I was just surprised that I haven't spent the last 2 years watching this.
Yeah, I can't believe I've never heard of this before.
This is better than cable.
We're gonna have to fucking just do it. Just Google Young what do you say? Top 10 best moments from Young Thug's
best moments of Young Thug's trial.
I don't know why, but I fucking love it. It's an absolute, like, I came in and I made, I think, maybe 2 cases that are like, this is why we have like the courts that we have, and we should stick up for the rights of people, and you're coming in and saying like, no, dude, the justice system is fucked. This is exactly what you're able to do, but he still got sentenced.
I think so.
It was too confusing.
Yeah,
too much shit was going on.
I'm pretty sure, and I watched a couple times, but I'm pretty sure he got sentenced to 10 years.
Was it just so convoluted that you didn't know, or was it just like, it's kind of confusing?
It was just a giant whirlwind of emotions. the whole time.
10 years. He'll be all right in 10 years.
Yeah.
He'll come right back out.
I think they said, like, with time served could be just 2 years.
What?
Yes. I think it was like...
Did all of these witnesses go to jail, though?
All
I mean,
these witnesses?
You're like, all these people that, like, you just show up to the, like, courthouse, like, high as shit. Like,
I don't know.
Weed is not federally legal yet.
No.
I don't know.
I don't think Georgia. It's
Georgia, probably not.
I don't have an answer to you. Like I said, I didn't put a lot of research into it. I mostly just watched
and just left your ads off.
YouTube videos. So young thug,
I'm just so blown away.
Like they watch this, I'm sorry.
In the middle of a trial, thinking that was going to be a good way to like help my bro out.
That was to crash the system. Well, there was also a part.
It is a good way to fucking try to get a mistrial if that's what you're looking for.
There's also a point where the judge threatened to throw everyone in jail if they didn't quit interrupting, because people were just yelling. So
what you're saying is that, like, it was like the Springer Show, but on like an actual real live courtroom.
Real life, yes.
Wow. I don't think I learned a whole lot from this.
I'm sorry.
But I do think that I was entertained a lot, and like I can't wait to actually check out the footage.
You should.
Oh my God. Anything else you got on Young Thug's trial?
No. Nothing else I want to share.
God damn.
Without further ado, let's get into horror news.
Before we start, I'm going to go to the bathroom now.
Okay. I should probably go too.
I was like, I almost pissed my pants in the middle of the segment.
For anyone watching, I'll tell Peter, but I think he's a bitch. Little pissy bitch. Just pisses a lot. He told me he almost pissed his pants right now. Couldn't even handle holding this pee while we were recording because he just pissed because a little pissy bitch. It's coming right now, so let's be quiet.
What are you doing?
Nothing. What are you doing? All right, we're back. We're going into horror news, correct?
I think we are into horror news. Jamie, what did you watch that you need to tell us all about?
So, I got ransacked, like I said, where I had full-on plans to watch movies. And what I ended up doing is what I always do, is I got sucked into watching the same thing that I've seen a million times in a
you told me about this.
Yeah, in a different way. So I don't know if you know, but on Thanksgiving, they came out with Cold Case on JonBenét Ramsey. And of course, I watched all 3 hours of it thinking, I'm like, oh, they fucking figured something out.
Why would they make another episode if they haven't figured something out, right?
Exactly. And then I watched all of it, and I learned absolutely nothing.
Nothing new?
No.
They figured it out yet?
No, not at all.
Not even a little bit.
Had a couple sound bites from people that I'd never heard before. Like the guy that was in jail, like on the other side of the fucking country, that like came out and said I was the one that did it.
Yeah, I remember.
I don't remember his name, but they had like him talking about it when they're like clearly, oh yeah, it turns out you can't kill this little girl because you were the other side of the country.
I feel like you have a habit of these things where like you get like really excited about these documentaries that are new documentaries about old stories, and you're like, dude, you gotta check it out. They're really hyping it up here. They're gonna give us an answer, only to be like super let down by it. Like, we would have heard about it if they had learned something.
You're absolutely right. That's why I said I was bamboozled.
This is the same thing that happened with the Zodiac Killer case. When we like first started this podcast, you were like, dude, you gotta check this show out. And
why do they keep putting this shit out? There's so many murders going on in this world. Or why do they have to have the same like 6 things where I have to watch every single time?
Get it, dude, but this is also like, you're kind of the problem.
Touché.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Suckers born every day, and you're one of them right now. When you keep watching these documentaries.
So you're not going to watch it?
Do you think I should?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I'll glean some information from it, but there's nothing. I'm not going to find out who did it, right?
No.
I've done some research into the JonBenét Ramsey case. I'll probably check it out because that's what I like to do, but I'm tired of it, man. Let's have some fucking...
I was also tired of it.
We need some real people to show up, and we need to put an end to this fake money grab type documentary.
100%.
It's like, oh, we found out, like, check out the new documentary on JonBenét Ramsey with info you've never heard before. And I was like, yeah, I knew her. It's like, oh, this is a brand new suspect we've never talked to. But he's like, yeah, I was in jail at the time she was dead, but I knew who she was.
Well, also,
I met her one time.
The name of it was like Catching the Killer. Cold Cases, Catching the Killer.
Fucking lies.
Yes, and like
it's just lies. And people need to be held accountable for this type of shit.
They sure do. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch anything because I decided to.
But I feel for you,
rewatch.
Dude.
But
you used your time that could have been spent watching other kick-ass movies, like the one I'm about to talk about.
Well, I had.
Oh, you have another one?
Yeah, I had one other thing I wanted to tell you about that I was excited about.
Roll on, dude.
So you get too excited.
Sorry. Well, you didn't
let me finish talking. I know. I guess like that would have been a perfect segue if I didn't have something else.
It's cool, dude.
I did have a brighter side, so
okay. I want to hear the brighter side because I'm honestly bummed out for you.
No, so yesterday I saw the first looks into Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I don't know if you had a chance to watch or see any of these pictures.
No, but I've heard good things.
So
it looks fucking cool.
I think it's Oscar Isaac. Was that his name? The guy that played like Moon Knight in Marvel?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
He's playing Dr. Frankenstein.
Okay.
I'm sure you're familiar with anything Guillermo del Toro's done, but it's like very like gothic and beautiful.
Yeah.
And this whole thing looks sick. And
he does a very good job of like recreating, or like not recreating, but doing like almost like period pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was The Devil's Backbone was like one of my favorites. It like takes place in like this little tiny Mexican missionary.
Mm-hmm.
Was one of my favorite movies I remember through like my jump into horror. Obviously, like Pan's Labyrinth was Guillermo del Toro as well. Phenomenal, but
his show on Netflix,
he does very good.
No,
I have not seen Cabinet of Curiosities at all.
That's
really good.
It's fun. It's like very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah,
the stories
I
are
can
like
see
fine.
that.
We're excited. Like I'm excited for them to try to revamp this whole Universal Monsters.
Are we cool with these revamps? I think these are revamps that maybe needed revamps.
That's been a very long.
Some of these movies, it's been like 70 years.
Yes. Well, they keep redoing The Mummy and shit, and they do Frankenstein in like weird ways. Like they just did like the lady Frankenstein. I think it was Lisa Frankenstein,
which was a very good movie.
It was okay.
I thought it was good, but
yeah, but I like this is going to be like an actual retelling in the period piece.
Yeah,
just like also how I'm excited for Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Like they're also redoing Wolfman right now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited that they're not redoing movies that were made 5 to 10 years ago, right? Which seems to be the case with like these full-on intentional money grabs.
Mm-hmm.
These are like maybe the movies that are like necessary to be remade, right?
Well,
we're coming up on like, you know, Frankenstein and Wolfman. Oh, what was his name? Did Wolfman in like 2006.
He's about Wolf Cop?
No, I'm not talking about Wolf Cop. I wish I was.
It's
who I can't remember what the actor's name is. Benicio del Toro did Wolfman in like 2006 or something like that.
Really?
It was okay, but it wasn't like a good representation. Like, I guess maybe I'm discounting bad remakes. I want to see good, honest remakes of original. Fucking go scene by scene and update it, because it'd be cool to take a black and white movie and make it into the modern style. Like, make it your own, but pay some honor to the genre that came before.
Well, speaking of cash grab, I told you that they're building an entire like theme park land,
Dark Universe
in Universal. It's
that what
Dark
it's called?
Universe, yes, and it's all based on the Universal monsters.
Yep.
And this is how they're slowly going to rebrand it.
It doesn't sound slow at all. It sounds like they're making like 5 different movies in the next year that are going to be like...
Really?
Yeah.
I just know Frankenstein, Wolfman, what else?
Did you say Black Lagoon?
Pretty sure no, I don't.
Oh, okay.
That's all I know.
There was
That's all I've seen.
maybe some one that maybe already came out. I can't remember. I don't know.
No.
Either way,
Nothing else. Yeah, the first one.
it's pretty quick to be like rolling like 3 movies in 1 year.
So the first one is going to be Wolfman, and that's coming out, I think, in January.
Well, was Nosferatu not part of the Universal Studios?
See, so it is. It's definitely it's definitely Dracula, but I don't know if it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna dive into that soon. I have a feeling.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Well, you said something that was really exciting to talk about, right?
Dude, I was transitioning.
Finally.
Yep. It's about time, right?
Finally transitioning.
Yep. I was going to talk about how you could have spent the time that you were watching the JonBenét Ramsey documentary that gave you one new witness that didn't really have anything to say because obviously he's not the fucking killer. He just had like... He came out and said something, whatever. You could have spent it watching a pretty funny horror movie called Black Friday.
I've never heard of Black Friday.
Yep.
I thought you were talking about Black Christmas this whole time.
And when we talked, I said that it was Black Christmas, and I was like, wait, that's not actually the movie I watched. This movie was another one similar to the movie that we'll be covering tonight, horror comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little on the nose, I would say, to where it definitely painted and made light spoilers here. Customers showing up to stores on Black Friday turned into zombies.
I feel like that's every MO, not the zombie part, but like every like holiday horror movie is like, oh, look at how shitty people are trying to buy things. Consumerism.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little on the nose. Like the subtlety is maybe a little bit missing here. There was some new things. The zombies all teamed up to make one giant zombie, which was like an interesting thing. Literally, I think they called it like Zombie Kong or like Mom Con or something like that.
It's like Autobots. No, it's not Autobots. What is it?
It's kind of like Transformers, but it's like a giant, ugly fucking like zombie that's like 50 feet tall.
Yeah,
it's like
Animorphs. Something with Animorphs. That was no. What was the one where they all linked together? It wasn't Transformers.
Finger Ring Friends.
Fingering Friends? I think that
No, Finger Ring Friends, where they all put their rings together.
Captain Planet?
Yeah.
No, there was something where they all like.
That's the whitest kid you know reference. No, you were saying something.
I'm trying to think of what like the ones where they're like, oh, I think it was Power Rangers where they all there's well they like formed into one giant. They formed into one giant bot.
Yeah,
and they fought everything.
Yep,
this is what you're saying.
Pretty much,
they formed
all of the fucking zombies like turn into one giant zombie. It's fucking cool.
That sounds awesome
and scary. It's really ugly. It kind of looks like I'm trying to like think of what it looked like.
Say someone similar in your life that it looks like.
Feel like it's like a Harry Potter character. He's kind of like a goblin kind of dude. But anyways, I don't think that's important. I think that Black Friday was a very funny movie. Definitely had something to say about consumerism while making a pretty kick-ass fucking zombie movie.
Giant Power Rangers.
Massive zombie.
Right.
The movie, yeah, I'm not going to get into the end of it.
Don't, dude.
It was quite good, and I had a pretty good laugh. There were some good lines. It was on, I believe I watched it on Amazon Prime, but I think it's on a couple different streaming sources. Bruce Campbell is in it.
Perfect.
Devon Sawa is in it, and we talked about this a little bit before. He's not dead, just in case anyone's wondering. Devon Sawa is alive and well. He did pretty good in this movie. He's definitely, I feel almost bad for him because they make fun of him for having peaked in high school. That's his character. And I don't think I've seen Devon Sawa in a movie since Casper, when he was probably in high school. So again, maybe a little bit on the nose. Let's take it easy on Devon Sawa here.
He's also in Free Willy, too, right?
Was that him?
No.
I don't know.
I don't remember. You're right.
I think you actually might be right.
Thought it was.
But anyways, his character is like this older dude that is divorced, and he's damn near 50 years old, hooking up with this like 30-year-old or like 25-year-old chick, and he gets ripped into about like, dude, you peaked in high school and you're still trying to live out your glory days. You're dating a chick half your age. Her dad's younger than you are, and he's like, "Oh, fuck you, bro." But
sounds
he's
like
jealousy
to me, dude.
Yeah,
someone's jealous because he's banging the hot chick, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Props to Devin Sawa.
Yep, big ups, Devin Sawa. And Bruce Campbell also has
not dead.
So many fucking incredibly good lines in this movie. Please go watch Black Friday. It is a very good horror comedy. You'll laugh, and it's not really that scary. Honestly, I was kind of confused at what the whole point of the movie was until the very end, other than the fact that they were trying to comment on
a real nail biter. It really keeps you on your toes, not knowing the plot. So
I just didn't know what was happening. It was like, oh, they're just doing this now, and then now they're doing this, and apparently they're just trying to escape and go home. But anyways, good movie. Loved it.
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, we finished all our things. It's time for the main event. Krampus. We're doing another shot. Man, that's a really nice shirt, dude. Who got it for you?
You just gave it to me.
I did, because I got too fat for it. Well, don't fat shame me, dude. Chill out.
You didn't have to bring up the shirt at all.
But I just noticed that you were wearing it, Shook, and I knew the whole time.
I've been talking to you the whole time.
I know. It just makes me mad how nicely it fits you. And it doesn't fit me at all.
I'm really sorry.
I didn't
mean to like wear it to flaunt it.
No, it's okay. I wanted you to wear
it. All right. Are you ready for the main event?
I'm fucking ready, dude.
Do you want a shot first? Do you want it after?
Sure.
I'm going to do it afterwards, actually.
After the whole thing?
No. I have a whole... It's called setting the scene.
Another one?
Yep.
Okay. Let's set the scene. Paint me a picture, Daddy. Pop, pop.
You can hear the crunching of stale snow as hundreds of little feet flee from the park as the sun sets behind the clock tower of the little German village. Hans, his face red from the biting winter chill and running as fast as he can, hears only the wind whistling as he rounds the corner at the end of his street. Piercing the sound of the wind, however, a faint ringing appears from behind him. He doesn't turn to look, however, only runs harder. The ringing sound of bells becomes clearer with every step. Shortly, the ringing of bells is accompanied by the clanging of metal on metal, the sound of chains. Hans finally turns around and lets loose a little German scream. Ooh! A towering creature with massive goat-like legs and claws for hands is bearing down on Hans. He reaches into his pocket and discards the toy he stole from Tomas earlier, hoping that this will satisfy the beast.
That's smart.
But the creature pays no mind as he crunches the toy under his enormous hoof. Hans looks behind him as he nears the end of his driveway, but surprisingly, the creature is no longer there. As he turns his head back towards the house, he slams headfirst into what Hans felt was a brick wall covered in hair. He falls to the ground, crying for help, but no doors open to come to his rescue. A clawed hand reaches down and scoops up the thrashing Hans. Suspended in the air, Hans' cries become louder and more desperate, but the creature slips a large leather bag off his shoulder and lowers Hans inside, his cries becoming muffled as the bag is cinched shut. Hans opens his eyes but can see nothing in the darkness. A voice whispers out to him, "Hans, you shouldn't have stolen my toy. I bought it with my parents' stolen credit card. I hope the Krampus eats me first. I don't think I can stand him crunching your bones." Let's hear it for Krampus.
He didn't even eat anyone. It's just those kids getting...
I wrote that whole little story, dude.
It's very nice, dude. That's good. Oh, you wrote for just for me?
Yeah, dude. Well, and the listeners, I guess. For all of you. But you're included.
Oh, thanks.
I just wanted to get through that before I took another shot because I'll probably get all fucked up now.
Typical Peter getting too drunk to tell stories, dude.
Is that typical me?
No, let's made it up.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You don't want to give me a complex.
Thanks. I'm not worried about it at all.
No, I know.
All right.
Sorry about my sound effects.
I think the sound effects made the story, dude. Good work. I'm happy you went there. So who is Krampus? The appearance of the figure known as Krampus dates back to at least the 4th century AD in the high Alpine German territory of Bavaria. Being that Krampus originated from pagan traditions, it is said that he is the son of the god Hel. I guess it would be goddess Hel, the goddess of Helheim, the Norse underworld, and also the son of Loki, the trickster god, also featured in the Marvel series, played by
Tom Middleston.
Nice.
Thank you.
Love that. I'm glad you were there for the assist. That was like alley-oop. Way to slam it. In these earliest tellings, Krampus, who gets his name from the German word Krampen, meaning claw or dead and rotting, is described as an abnormally tall, half goat, half man who is covered in hair with massive horns and claws on his hands.
Can we just talk about the fact that the German language said Krampus is either claw or
dead
and rotting. So
your pick.
Use it in a sentence, please. You can't have this word. Why is this word used for 3 different things? Just make different words.
I get it. It's funny. Like, we have a pretty Germanic language, but it's no wonder that like a lot of Latin is the main emphasis on most languages in the world, because it just makes so much more fucking sense. In the spelling bee, they'd be like, "Oh, use it. Can I get the language of origin?" And they're like German, and you're like, "Fuck, never mind. I don't fucking know."
It's the only one that also sounds like you're angry all the time.
Robin,
it's not because it be down. That was gibberish. I'm sorry. Oof. Right, go on.
All right. In pre-Christian tradition, particularly in northeastern Europe, the figure of Krampus was used as a folk tale to warn against the dangers of the cold, dark winters in these areas. The story of Krampus would be told to children to keep them safe from wandering outside their villages. It is said that if you were found out wandering at night in the winter, Krampus would come and take you back to Helheim and eat you. While the story of Krampus was used to keep the children of the villages safe, most of these pagan villages would also hold a feast to Krampus on December 5th, known as Krampusnacht. This feast would be held to show respect for Krampus as well as give him thanks for the protection from outsiders and evil spirits. At this point, Krampus is set up as a fearsome figure, but certainly not seen by believers in him as an evil figure. This would all change as the figure of Krampus would be absorbed into the Christian tradition. As the reach of the Roman Empire increased into Northern Europe, pagan traditions were co-opted by that of Roman Christianity. This is a pretty standard thing. When Christianity took over the world, for the most part, they just took all these previously existing things and just made them kind of their own.
Swatted them down.
Not even, in the case of Krampus, they kind of did that. Initially, the Roman Catholic Church sought to ban any representations of Krampus, as they saw him as a demon that should not be celebrated or discussed. However, Krampus's moment for revival came at the Christian introduction of Saint Nicholas, a Greek saint who died in the 4th century AD, right around when we kind of see Christianity becoming more popular in Eastern Europe. He would bring gifts to the good children in the early 17th century. While old Saint Nick would leave treats and toys for the well-behaved, the Christian church felt that they needed a punishing figure to keep the children in line, and they settled on the figure of Krampus. It would be unsaintly for someone of Saint Nick's stature to deal out punishment to children, so they instead co-opted Krampus to be the bad cop to Saint Nick, dealing out beatings or straight up kidnapping and eating children who were misbehaved. He is not the only figure that this happened to. There were several figures, including Zuete Piet, aka Black Pete in France.
That's you, the black.
Belschnickel of Office fame and lore, La Befana, and the Yule Lads. Yule lads are super funny. We should cover them at some point.
Oh, you're missing one.
Tell me.
The Yule Cat.
What's the Yule Cat?
The Yule Cat is a giant hat.
How big?
Bigger than a house. And it literally, like, comes for kids.
Your cat is so fat? How fat?
How fat?
Bigger than your house.
I gotta look at
And it eats all your kids.
I gotta look up the official name of the Yule Cat real quick. Because this was one of the most interesting pieces that I found.
I did not hear any.
Really?
I'm seeing pictures on your computer, and it's so funny.
All right, here we go.
I mean, so like...
It's Icelandic. It's Jólakötturinn.
Jólakötturinn.
Also called Jólaköttur. Christmas cat is a huge, vicious cat from Icelandic Christmas folklore that is said to lurk into snowy coastlines during the Christmas season and eat people who do not receive new clothing before Christmas Eve.
Your clothes suck. You must die.
I hate this.
Time to die, bitch.
Look how big this cat is. So that's
a big ass cat, dude.
Big ass cat. So I'm glad we got to bring.
Anyways, I do love these old pagan traditions and like all that stuff because like for the most part it makes zero sense that there's a cat that's like bigger than like a house, and
Sure.
if you don't have the most modern fashion, you're gonna die. These are all of like what we would classify as, we haven't introduced the character of Santa yet, but it's the same thing as Saint Nick, as Santa's helpers. All of these characters stand in contrast to Saint Nick and do the punishing while Nick delivers out the present. Like we mentioned earlier, the Catholic Church co-opted all of these kind of dark figures to, one, keep people in line, and to like keep Saint Nicholas as like the clean, perfect, as we mentioned, like good cop of Christmas. Like he's the guy that's going to give you all the presents, and he's never going to do anything bad to you. But if you are bad, you're going to get visited by these other people. And like, I think it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, little bitch.
Krampus's revival at the hands of the church also added some details that were missing from ancient pagan traditions. He would be given a long forked tongue and would also wear chains, signifying the binding of the devil and his minions by God. He would also be given a sack to kidnap the children, in juxtaposition of the bag full of toys and treats carried by Saint Nick.
Brilliant. This
This Christian-influenced Krampus is the version of Krampus that we have definitely come to know and honestly love today. In the late 1800s, Krampus became the feature of many, like, I would call them like mature or like grotesque Christmas cards. These cards would depict Krampus devouring children with a cup of tea, or some other image like along those lines of like kind of violent imagery. They also, and more importantly, featured Krampus chasing around and kidnapping scantily clad women. Since this time, Krampus has been oddly sexualized alongside his counterpart, St. Nicholas, who experienced his own rebranding in the mid-1900s of the character of Santa Claus, mostly due in part to a highly successful marketing campaign by the Coca-Cola Company. But we are not here to talk about Santa because he's a bitch, and Krampus would beat the fuck out of him in a fight.
Yes.
It seems as the fascination with horror and true crime has increased around the globe, Krampus has also seen a rise in interest, including movies and parades featuring his names and likenesses.
Yeah, I watched the whole Austrian parade that happened on December 1st on YouTube.
Yep.
And it looked fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Krampusnacht, it's, oh shit.
I mean, that was December 1st, right?
It's the 4th today.
Yes. Today is December 5th.
We're recording technically because we're at past midnight.
Yeah.
It's the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
We are officially on Krampusnacht. I didn't time this. I honestly didn't think about it.
I didn't either.
So
I thought about that a little early.
I didn't even have this written down. I will say, so as Krampusnacht was co-opted into Christian tradition, they had the Feast of St. Nicholas, who they celebrate, and that's when like actual presents were originally delivered before they decided that they were going to do it the 25th of December as Christmas. Tonight, so the 5th into the 6th. So Krampus would come by before St. Nick on the night of the 5th. And then the morning of the 6th, St. Nick would come by and drop off all the presents to the good kids. And then there was like some weird stuff about like, if he put your boots in the window, it was a good sign because your boots would be warm in the morning because they were in the window. Like, I don't know, some dumb shit like that. Anyways, it's kind of cool that we just like check that out, and it's actually the 5th.
Right now.
Krampusnacht is literally as we're recording.
So if he...
Somewhere over in Europe, there's a bunch of Krampus running around, dude.
100%.
That's what I'm going to kind of get to right now. Krampusnacht and Krampuslauf celebrations. So Krampuslauf is... We talked about Krampusnacht is Krampus night. Krampuslauf is pretty much what they mean is Krampus run. Celebrations are held around the world, particularly in Austria, Germany, and Northern Europe. Citizens dress up and often get drunk, which we love, and parade around the city dressed in horrific yet awesome costumes that depict their best representations of Krampus.
Sounds like our cup of tea, for sure.
We might need to make a trip sometime.
We eventually.
There have also been several movies and TV shows surrounding the legend of Krampus. I distinctly remember hearing about Krampus for the first time while watching the 2010 release of the Finnish movie Rare Exports, which explores an evil Santa who has been unearthed from his frozen tomb only to torment the villagers of a small Finnish settlement. Jamie, what did you think of Rare Exports?
I thought it was very clever. I did not know that was Krampus.
It's a really slow burn, I should say.
Yes. Also, I usually am working on something on the computer, like editing, while I watch a lot of these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And because this one was from Finland, it was all
it's all subtitled, and you can't get it in English.
So I literally, I was like, I have to pay full.
Did you watch it on Prime as well?
Yes, I watched it on Prime, yeah.
I think it was maybe on Roku or something like that. You could watch it and there was a different language, but I watched it on Prime because I remember watching this when I was early college, 2012, I think I watched this movie, and it was the first time that I had heard of Krampus, and I thought that it was a really cool story. And then I got more into the lore of Krampus because you kind of see Krampus early in the movie. Now, you mentioned this earlier. You don't really ever get to actually see Krampus in this movie
at all.
He's this huge being that's trapped in ice, and he summons his elves to come save him because he's been held in this ice block for 300, 400 years or something like that. I can't remember what the actual time is in the movie. I thought it was really cool. I did appreciate the fact that there was a child who goes full on John McClane and dives out of a helicopter to try to rescue, for some reason, all these grizzly old men that live in the Finnish Highlands. There's no fucking way that these old fucking dudes are gonna be oh yeah, that kid's totally fine.
Yeah.
Just go handle it, kid. They're
fine. He's right hockey.
Go to fucking bed, you dumb fuck.
Well, that's my favorite part of the movie. It was where he's tell all these kids it's past their bedtime. Is what the hero kid says at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it was. Going back now and rewatching it, I thought it was a phenomenal movie when I first saw it, and that's why I begged you to watch it. Pretty much. Going back now, I was that's not that great of a movie. One, for the story of Krampus that we're covering, because it doesn't really cover that much of it.
And I was why are we watching?
It has nothing to do with real Krampus. All of the story that we've covered so far for Krampus really isn't even delved into or mentioned at all.
No.
The kid's super annoying.
Yeah.
There is some crazy thing where Krampus summons a bunch of technically what we would refer to as elves, who are just old dudes with full nude, dicks out,
naked,
running through the fucking Norwegian, or I guess it would be Finnish, Finnish tundra. Super interesting movie. I have to give a shout out to it because it was what got me interested in Krampus in the first place. But man, I think it might be nostalgia.
Yeah. I also thought it was funny. They were hey, how much money do you want for ransom for Santa Claus? And it's $85,000. They're what? Ask for $1 million. He's no, $85,000. And I was brought up multiple herds.
No, but that's what they were missing. That's what,
yeah.
When the reindeer died, that's what they would have fetched for their hides, stuff like that.
Did they bring that up?
Yeah, it's early in the movie when like they first like they set up like the weird like electric fence that's gonna draw in all the reindeer, and then like only 2 show up. They're like, what the fuck? Where are all the reindeer at? They go and they're on the snowmobiles, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, he's like, yes, there's 300 and like randomly there's one guy that's like, yep, there's 375 reindeer out here, and they would all fetch this much or whatever. And so then they calculated it's like 85,000, something like that, and all of them like, oh, like maybe we'll give you like 85,000 per, and then all the elves just like actually become slaves. Actually, that's not what really happens. I feel like this movie is plenty old, and we can maybe describe it because I feel like it might be confusing. They ship out the elves to go be Santa Clauses around the world. At this point, we're going to transition to another movie. Jamie's going to walk us through Krampus, released in 2014, starring Adam Scott.
2015.
15?
Yes. So this is the only, as far as I know, this is the only movie that is
Attributed to Krampus.
just completely just Krampus, which, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, it's not. There's literally only like 5 minutes at the end of this movie where Krampus is a part.
You see him jumping on houses and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like very
the
discreet,
stories. So yes, this is a full blockbuster Hollywood movie. It has the lady from...
Did you see this in theaters?
No, but
I did.
But I've watched it.
Wild Horse, baby.
I've watched it every year for like the past like 6 years.
I do love that for you, though.
Yeah, that and Gremlins I watch every time. So it starts with how Peter said for Black Friday. It starts where everyone is in a store and they're fighting over trying to buy that. And then it cues to them going to their house where they're all very mad about what happened, or did the kid got in a fight?
Yeah, so like they like Jamie mentioned, like it starts out and there's like absolute chaos at a store, but those are like the opening credits. It doesn't really have a whole lot to do technically with the story, other than I don't want to call him the main character, but the child who's the main, like there's, I'd say 2 main characters. There's the adult main character and the child main character. The child main character gets in a fight with another kid at like the Santa's village or whatever, because the kid says that Santa's not real. Yes. And then the movie picks up, like you're saying, they get back home and he definitely has a black eye, and he's like, what the fuck is your problem? Why did you fight that kid? And from there, they kind of like...
Right after that, they literally go into, oh, I wish our family wasn't here, like very cliche. And then their family that they don't enjoy shows up, and they all are like really shitty to each other, which is like definitely foreshadowing the fact that like Krampus is coming, because he... What are you gonna say?
Nothing. I was gonna say, like, there's a whole thing in here that has a lot to do with, I would say, more Santa-like traditions of belief, where like if you believe in these things, they exist, and you're okay if you believe in them. Like almost like it's a very Christian-like tradition where like, oh, if you like, no matter how good of a person you are, if you don't believe in these things, you still go to hell.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And so I thought that was like, from the very get-go, really interesting to be like, oh, no matter what, these people are all damned, because as good as they want to be or can be, they still don't believe. And so they're automatically condemned to the worst thing. And I think that's what the movie tries to like kind of exploit, is saying like, maybe that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. So long story short, this kid full on wants his whole family to keep believing in Santa and like have a good time, and no one in his family wants to do that. Next, they make fun of him because he wrote a little letter. Like,
yeah, he writes a letter to Santa saying like what he wishes for, and it's like honestly a really sweet, heartfelt letter saying that like for the most part He wants his family to get along. He doesn't even care about like what he actually gets. He cares about his family getting along and his parents being in love again and stuff like that, which is it's sweet.
It's sweet to not like talk about it a whole bunch, but it gets to the point where everyone starts dying and like getting killed by
we missed
not Krampus.
An important part. So you mentioned that like the new family shows up, or like the sister's family shows up, and the daughters, like, so this kid who wrote this letter, his, I guess it would be cousins, make fun of him. Like they steal the letter out of his pocket and make fun of him for it. So he tears up the letter and he throws it out the window because he says that, like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't believe in any of this shit anyways anymore. I'm over it. I'm done. And that is what transforms the entire movie from being a regular Christmas movie into a Krampus movie.
Yes, that's exactly what summons Krampus.
Yep. Because he doesn't believe anymore. He doesn't believe in Santa.
And so
he's now apparently, because he doesn't believe, a bad person.
So then all these things bad start happening to his whole family. One by one, they all start to die.
Super funny deaths.
Yes.
You don't really get to see a whole lot, though.
No.
It's pretty. It's very PG-13.
Snowy. It's very snowy. It is 100% PG-13.
I know the movie's rated that way, but they also, like, if you're wondering with, like, maybe you have young kids and you're like, I don't know if I should show this to my kid. Like, it's definitely a little bit scary, but there is, like, not a lot of gratuitous violence at all in this movie. It's very tame.
I don't think I'd show my or anyone under 13 this.
No, but I wouldn't say that it's, like, overly violent.
No.
It's definitely scary at points.
Yeah. So, long story short, it gets to the point where a couple kids start dying in this, and it gets to the grandma that's been there the whole time. That was like kind of subtle and quiet about everything, and she tells the story. She
also spends the entire first part of the story only speaking in German.
Yes. And then she speaks English and tells about how she summoned Krampus when she was a kid and killed her entire family.
And she was left as like a witness pretty much, which is so fucked up.
Then from there, this is where it gets really good and detailed, is that a bunch of gingerbread men start coming out and attacking the family. And then one of the dogs eats some gingerbread men. And then they go up to the attic where there's like dolls that turn into monsters.
The whole thing is like very good.
This is where it gets very
creepy, but like also it's playful. The entire movie is very playful.
Where do we go from there?
After the kids got eaten by the...
Yeah.
There was the doll, or the Jack in the Box.
The scary doll.
There was the angel.
Yeah. Yep.
That they fought off.
Yeah, we kind of just get to see like a lot of these, let's call them like staples of Christmas becoming evil, to the point that I think a lot of the characters kind of die by these figures.
So from there, I think that's when the fire goes out.
Yep. Well, no, the fire has already gone out at this point. That's when like the gingerbread men come down the chimney.
Oh, yeah.
At that point, people start to go outside. They pretty much devise the plan that they're going to get to the snowplow that was not completely destroyed. And then they're going to drive the snowplow either to the mall or to the police department, whichever one they can get to. And everyone dies. They like all get super fucked up by either Krampus or honestly, mostly these like snow snakes. I don't really know. I don't know why the fuck the snow snakes are a big thing, but they fuck up everyone. Honestly, I don't think Krampus has a ton to do until the very end. When our main character, Max, makes his way back, like he goes out and he finds his dad and he finds his, like all the rest of the family and like tracks them all down. And then all of a sudden he's following Krampus, who we actually get to see finally as like this weird demonoid creature. And he's like built this huge hole that like all the throwing everyone down to hell. He just literally just scoops up Max and like also just chucks him down there. That's like how the main story ends. And then, of course, Max wakes up and it's 2 days earlier, right when the family actually is showing back up again. And he kind of gets to like start his whole life all over again. Instead of being all fucked up by Krampus, he gets to start all over again. But then there's this weird jump back out to like Max is in a snow globe doing all of this. So maybe none of it is even real anymore. It's very, very confusing what the end of this movie is. Do you agree?
I just thought he was like, hey, I take this all back. I take this all back.
Yep.
I never wished for it. And then he wakes up and there's like, where have you been? And then like,
yeah, you kind of get the feeling that like, oh, like this is all a dream, or like it was not real exactly how all of this went down. Cut to.
and you thought there would be Krampus too. There wasn't. Back again.
I didn't think they
Krampus.
needed Krampus too. Like they made it very clear that like he definitely like is just a trapped figure in this whole thing.
I thought he looked back into the snow globe and it's like, oh yeah, he's coming back.
Maybe. I just thought that it was like just Krampus, because Krampus has like, it cuts to Krampus looking into the globe, but then there's like thousands of snow globes.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's all good. I'm pretty sure that's how it ends. That like it cuts to Krampus at the very end, like it zooms out from Max into like a snow globe kind of situation. And then it just keeps zooming out and out and out. And it's like Krampus is walking around in this like weird dungeon. And there's like hundreds or thousands of snow globes like all over the place of like people trying to live their best lives. But they're definitely like just in a little snow globe in hell. And they probably live that way for the rest of their lives. Yep. Pretty bums my gums, I'd say.
For sure.
All right. So we've gotten through Krampus now.
Mm-hmm. With so many words.
Yeah. How do the representations of Krampus in Rare Exports differ from the movie Krampus and the legends we have come to know of Krampus?
Well, Rare Exports really didn't explain Krampus other than like the kind of the very end. I never understood that Krampus was there until you told me.
Yeah, it's super convoluted. It doesn't make it clear at all that Krampus is like that huge, giant, like, it's almost like a ball. Because he's trapped in ice.
It's a giant cocoon, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Where Krampus, the movie, was focused
You get to
just on
see him
Krampus.
as a being.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest things that like I thought the movie did well of actual Krampus was like creating this very terrifying figure. Versus, I think in Rare Exports you have a scary figure, but you like don't really know what the deal. You like
the
movie's so confusing.
Yes.
Going back and watching it again, I'm like, this movie like is highly confusing. I don't really understand what's going on most of the time. Why do we love Krampus?
The movie or
No. Like the figure.
Because he fucking hits kids with the switch.
Is it because he's badass?
It's because when kids are naughty, instead of giving them a lump of coal, he whips them with a switch or eats them.
Okay.
This metal as fuck.
What does it say about us as a people that we are more accepting of and celebrate a character who is meant to torture and torment a population of children specifically?
They were fucked up in the head. Like, what do you want to hear from?
No, I'm curious. Like, is because there's like a weird, and I'm gonna like briefly touch on this, but with world events being so up in the air of what they are,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not the first or the last time that this will happen, but you can pretty much look at people's fascination with the grotesque, with horror in any age, with true crime, these kinds of things tie in directly to world events and instability in the world. And I think that it says a lot that Krampus has become so popular in the last 20 years, even 10, let's call it 10 years, that it reflects like a fascination that we have with like not altruism, right? We have a fascination with like the gray, the dark. We don't just care about the light anymore. And like, I think that that's what Krampus represents, is something different from just being like a positive, altruistic, all happy being. And I think that that's important.
You say we're just all depressed?
No, I don't think that it necessarily has to do with depression. I think that a lot of it has to do with like, we are trying to grapple with the fact that people aren't necessarily good and people aren't necessarily evil. Good people can do bad things unintentionally, and the same vice versa, right? The gray area becomes more increasingly like important as we look at specifically like these kinds of like silly cases, because we don't actually have to like put ourselves in the eye of like a serial killer. We get to go through it in the terms of like, oh, like if you were a weird hulking creature that was meant to torment children, like, yeah, dude, whip those kids into shape. If they're bad, eat them, kind of thing. But like, what does that say about us as a culture? That like, maybe that's not the worst thing we could do, right? It's for the betterment of our group, right?
Easy way out. Eat those damn kids. The kid sucks, eat it.
Exactly. So like, could we use like a little more Krampus these days? Is it maybe something that like, is a lump of coal just not working anymore? And we need to bring back like these old school pagan forms of justice, like fucking beat the kids,
100%.
eat the kids. Like, obviously not like that, but like maybe it needs to be a little more hardcore because it's just not sinking in anymore. Has consumerism of the Christmas holiday driven us straight into the claws of Krampus and our rejection of consumerism and a desire for something raw and gritty? Is Santa just lame?
Yes.
Cool.
Hey.
Is Krampus a needed reminder that the holidays aren't just about presents and sweets, but that like all things, there needs to be a balance. There needs to be a light and a dark.
I agree with that.
To steal the words of another figure on the dark side of dichotomy of good and evil, the Joker, I think Krampus is an agent of chaos. This is a quote from the Joker.
I figured when you told me.
And you know, the thing about chaos is that it's fair. We wish you all a very fair Krampus knock this season. And don't forget, drink down those demons.
Drink down those demons. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, and if you guys have like any things that we should mention or we should cover in future episodes or whatever, DMs, comments help us out a ton. Helps get our videos up. I hate to like plug like that, but it's real.
Plug away. Plug.
For anyone that likes and supports, you know, these are really easy, free ways for you to help us get more exposure to people that maybe want to see our shit.
Hell yeah, dog.
Hey.
Cheers, my man.
Drink them down.
Drink them down.